Cha Eunwoo's name has once again taken the public by storm, not because of recent dramas, fancy photo shoots, or his appearances on stage, but because of a fact that can no longer be denied. Cha Eunwoo has become a figure touted as a valuable asset during his military service. The phrase first circulated from the internal environment, then rolled to the media, until it finally became a hot topic among fans, entertainment industry observers, and even the general public who usually do not follow the K-pop world too much. What happened was not just an empty compliment, but a real series of events that made Cha Eunwoo's role in the military different from most other celebrities who have served state duty. From the first day of entering the barracks, attention was already drawn to him, not only because of his status as a global idol and top actor, but because of his attitude that is far from the stereotypical expectations of a star. Many imagined Cha Eunwoo would keep his distance, choose silence, or be cold in order to protect his privacy. But reality is exactly the opposite. He came with his head bowed politely, greeted one by one his new colleagues, and showed a humble attitude that made the atmosphere change from the beginning. Some of the unit's colleagues even admitted that they were surprised that the figure they had seen on the screen turned out to be much more modest and warm in real life. The early days of training became an undemanding physical and mental test. Waking up before sunrise, intense physical exercise, strict discipline and mental stress make up the daily menu. Cha Eunwoo, who for years lived with the hectic schedule of the entertainment world, has to adapt to a completely different rhythm. But instead of complaining, he showed consistent endurance. In long-distance running training, he was never in the front row, but also almost never left behind. He chose a steady rhythm, helped his exhausted colleagues, and made sure everyone could complete the exercises together. This is where the starting point for the judgment arises that Cha Eunwoo is not just an ordinary soldier. The instructors began to notice his ability to maintain team morale. Whenever the atmosphere began to tense or fatigue hit, he often slipped a light joke that is not excessive, enough to make others smile and refocus. Under certain conditions, this kind of attitude is much more valuable than mere physical abilities. The military is not just a matter of muscle strength, but also mental endurance and compactness, and Cha Eunwoo seems to understand that very well. Over time, his role became more and more felt. In group assignments, he is known as a good listener. He does not dominate the discussion, but is able to summarize the opinion of his colleagues and convey it clearly. When misunderstandings occur, he mediates without seeming patronizing. This attitude made him slowly trusted, not only by his fellow soldiers, but also by superiors. From here began to emerge the term valuable asset, a designation that initially circulated only in the internal sphere, but later leaked to the outside. What made many people surprised was how Cha Eunwoo kept his professionalism without taking advantage of his popularity. He never asked for special treatment. He strictly followed the rules, served a small sentence when making minor mistakes, and did not try to find a loophole. This attitude actually makes the people around him respect him even more. Some soldiers who were initially awkward about having to barracks with big celebrities slowly get comfortable and see them as equal partners on several occasions. Cha Eunwoo is also believed to hold crucial small roles, not a symbolic role, but rather a task that demands responsibility. He runs it carefully, making sure every detail fits the procedure. When an obstacle occurs, he does not panic. He looks for solutions calmly and involves the team. This ability makes the superior judge that his presence has a real positive impact on the effectiveness of the unit. Word of his attitude and contribution began to spread outside the barracks, not in the form of sensational gossip, but rather simple stories of people with whom she directly interacts. Stories of how he helped a lightly injured colleague, how he encouraged those who were homesick, and how he kept his manners despite being under pressure. All of them form a new narrative about Cha Eunwoo, a narrative that is far from the glitter of the entertainment world, but instead more grounded and impressive. For fans, this news became a source of mixed emotions. There is a sense of pride to see their idols carry out state obligations with full responsibility. There is also a sense of joy in knowing that fame does not change its basic values. The media began to highlight this as a positive example, not only for K-pop fans, but also for the younger generation in general. Cha Eunwoo is seen as a figure who shows that fame and discipline can go hand in hand. On the other hand, the military looked at this phenomenon from a different point of view. The presence of public figures such as Cha Eunwoo, who takes his duties seriously, has an impact on the image of the institution. He became proof that the military is not a place to hide or just a formality, but a character-building space. When a person with great influence shows a positive attitude, the effect can spread widely, affecting public perception and increasing trust. Not a few say that Cha Eunwoo indirectly becomes a bridge between the entertainment world and state institutions. He didn't talk much, didn't make big statements, but his actions spoke louder. In his silence, he showed dedication. In its simplicity, it presents an example. That is what makes it called an asset, not because of its popularity alone, but because of the value it brings. Interestingly, Cha Eunwoo himself never responded to the mention publicly. He continues to live his day as usual, focused on tasks, taking care of his health and respecting the rules. This attitude actually reinforces the impression that everything that happens is not the result of engineering or imaging, but a reflection of his personality. In a world that is often filled with strategy and camera highlights, this kind of sincerity is rare. Time went on, and his service slowly approached important phases. Many wonder how this experience will affect his steps forward. But one thing was clear: no matter what he would do after completing his state duty, Cha Eunwoo's image had deepened. He is no longer just a handsome face on the screen, but a figure with life experiences that form a new maturity. This story about Cha Eunwoo in the military is ultimately not just about a celebrity serving an obligation. This is a story about how attitude, consistency, and empathy can change the environment, about how one individual can make a positive impact without having to yell, and about how simple values such as discipline, humility, and responsibility still have an important place in the middle of a fast-paced world. As the term valuable asset continues to resonate, its meaning becomes increasingly clear. Not because Cha Eunwoo brought material gain or media spotlight, but because he brought an example. It shows that being part of something bigger than yourself is an honor, not a burden. And so it happened, a silent journey behind military barracks that has now transformed into an inspiring story, leaving a trail that will be remembered far beyond his term. The continuation of the story is all the more interesting as various small details begin to come to the surface and reinforce the reason why Cha Eunwoo is truly seen as a valuable asset, not just a sweet nickname attached due to his celebrity status. In the harsh military environment, every little gesture has a big meaning, and Cha Eunwoo has repeatedly shown that he understands that without the need to be specifically directed in everyday life in the barracks. Cha Eunwoo is known as a figure who is very routine. He wakes up earlier than the appointed time, makes sure his equipment is tidy, and often helps his colleagues who are still having trouble adjusting. There is a story about how he was willing to take his rest time to accompany his unit mates who seemed moody due to the stress of training. He doesn't ask too much, doesn't give too much advice, just sits with you and listens. For many young soldiers, such a presence is much more soothing than formal words of motivation. Cha Eunwoo's relationship with the instructors also developed naturally. He is known to quickly catch referrals and rarely repeat the same mistakes. When reprimanded, he accepts with an open attitude without showing a defensive expression. This creates a two-way trust. The superiors saw him as a dependable soldier, while Cha Eunwoo himself kept a polite professional distance. There is no impression of wanting to be close for the sake of personal gain. Everything goes as it should. Interestingly, in some moments of intense training, Cha Eunwoo actually became one of the team's mental supports. When the physical begins to drain and emotions are easily ignited, he is able to keep the mood under control. It does not rule, but sets an example. When the other person starts to lose his spirit, he still completes his task calmly. It was this consistent attitude that slowly built a strong reputation within his unit.